Hello. This is Danya, your Mindset Coach, and today I'm here to tell you guys about a story. A story of a bumblebee and a housefly. So let's get started. There was once a very beautiful house in a very beautiful neighborhood. But the backyard of this house was interesting. At the farthest end of the backyard of the house, there were two main sections. In one section was where the owners had created a very beautiful garden with a lot of beautiful flowers. And on the other section was where the owners of the house would dump all of the waste or collect all of their garbage so that they can hand it over to the waste disposal systems. So one day, a little boy who was sitting in the backyard of the house saw that a bumblebee was flying through the entire backyard and then chose to go and sit on top of a flower. And he also saw that another housefly, after flying through the entire backyard of the house, chose to go and sit on the pile of garbage. So out of curiosity, this little boy chose to ask the bumblebee, "Hey bumblebee, as you were flying through the entire backyard, didn't you see the pile of garbage? Didn't you see the food waste that was there? Why didn't you go and sit on the waste, and why did you choose to sit on this flower instead?" And the bumblebee was very surprised. He just looked at the boy and asked, "What garbage are you talking about? I was always looking for a flower and I found the flower that I could sit in." Now this little boy was even more interested by this whole situation playing out the way it did. So he chose to go to the housefly and ask the housefly, "Hey housefly, you went through the entire backyard, right? Didn't you see that beautiful garden over there? Why are you choosing to sit on this pile of garbage instead?" And then the housefly was very surprised. The housefly just paused for a second and asked to the little boy, "What garden are you talking about? I was just flying aimlessly and then I found this pile of garbage and then I just thought that I'll nourish myself through it." And now the little boy got the answer that he was looking for. He understood that if you choose to look for the good, he will always find good. And if you choose to look for the lack of good, for the absence of good, he will always find that too. In the case of the bumblebee and the housefly, it might just be their nature to consume that particular kind of food that they were consuming. But in the case of us humans, we all have been given this beautiful gift of free will. We are free to choose what we want to focus our attention on. If we choose to focus our attention on all the peace, all the kindness, all the value, all the togetherness and joy and harmony that is there in this world, we will be sure to find it. But if we are not so conscious about how we want to use our energy and where we want to focus our attention towards, we might then start finding a lot of evidences for the lack of love, lack of peace, lack of togetherness, and a lack of all things that are good. So we all have the power to choose what we want to consume. We all have the power to choose if we want to be a bumblebee or a housefly. The truth is, this world is like a mixed bag. Whatever we are looking for, we will be able to find it here. For whatever things that we are seeking more evidences for, we'll be able to find it. If you want to believe that this world is a very peaceful place, then we'll be able to find a lot of people living in a lot of peace and harmony. But if you want to instead believe that this world is a very unsafe place with a lot of war and violence, then we'll be able to find evidences for that as well. We can choose to focus our attention on whatever we want, but remember that whatever we are choosing to focus our attention on is whatever we'll end up creating more of in our reality. But then you might ask me this question that, "Danya, there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of bad things in this world. There are a lot of crimes that is happening. There are actually wars that is happening in this world." And my answer to those people as well is to focus on what you want to create in this world. There is this beautiful book called as Awareness by Osho, and there is this beautiful chapter in that book which says that the only virtue is awareness and the only sin is unawareness. Anything that we try to do to come across as a virtuous person, but if we are still acting from the place of unawareness, then that is not a virtue in itself. We are just doing that to satisfy our ego. And ego is just a false identity that we have formed for ourselves just because we think that that is somehow keeping us safe. But if we remove this false layer of ego that we all have formed, whatever that remains is actually that pure essence of love, pure essence of source energy that is there within each of us, that is there within everything that exists in this world. So all of those people who are doing those evil things are only acting from the space of unawareness. If they were aware of the truth of who they were, then they will not be lifting arms against someone else. because they will know that we are all connected and it's all from the same source. So they will not be doing those evil things. But we must understand that the root of all things evil is only unawareness. And it is the same unawareness that is there within each of us in varying degrees. Some of us tend to express it much more loudly than others do, but it exists within each of us. When we shout at someone, when we get angry at someone, when we criticize other people, when we scold other people, when we judge other people, it is the same essential vibration that is creating that. It is coming from a space of unawareness. And the most powerful way in which we can add some value to this world is by shifting our own awareness, is by shifting our own consciousness. It is by becoming more and more aware of our own thoughts, beliefs and actions. We cannot make another person become aware. We cannot change another person. And it's not our responsibility either. We can only become more aware ourselves, clean up our inner world and let that change in the inner world reflect the change that we want to see in the outside world. Remember, we are all connected to the same source. So when we look inside, change our own level of consciousness. As a result, our collective consciousness also improves, and that is how we'll be able to change the world that we see in the outside world as well. We cannot force awareness from outside. Just as how we cannot force a flower to open up its petal and bloom, similarly we cannot force another human to become aware. It is something that has to happen from within. All we can do is to focus on becoming more and more aware ourselves and hope that that will inspire other people also to become aware. We can choose to believe in them, we can pray for them and we can bless them. But if we are going to decide how peaceful we want to feel depending on how aware another person has become, then that is a sure short way to misery. When you do that, you are just giving away your power and allowing other people to dictate to you how you want to feel. Take back all of that power and get connected with your source inside. When we get connected to our source within, we'll be able to see abundance of peace, joy and love filling us in from inside and also flowing into the world outside through us as well. I know that we digressed a lot, but the essence of the message is that we have the power to decide how we want to flow our energy. We have the power to decide what we want to create in a reality by choosing to focus on what we want to create instead of focusing on what we don't want to create. When we get so intentional about our thoughts, that is when we are actually able to create a change in this world. Unfortunately, the way the media is designed right now, a lot of media is published purely with the intention of grabbing our attention and instilling a lot of fear within us. And when we consume all of this news, we'll start creating a lot of fear within ourselves, which in turn we end up creating a lot of fear within our reality as well. A lot of situations that will make you feel the same way, like how reading that particular news made you feel. So if we want to feel more peaceful and joyful and abundant in our life, then we might want to stop consuming all of those news and all of those articles and all of those media, books, musics, movies or whatever may that be that makes us feel much more scared, much more disempowered, much more victimized. And instead, if we can focus on reading all the good books, all the good newspapers, media, magazines, book, videos, films and everything that instills a lot of strength, a lot of courage, a lot of peace, a lot of hope, joy, love and all of these positive emotions within us, that will help us create a lot more experiences that will help us feel the same way. So whatever we focus our attention on is what we would create. We all have the power to choose what we want to focus on. We can choose on the pile of garbage or we can choose on this beautiful garden here. The power is always within us and we get to choose. So may all of you guys who are watching this video and me and all of humanity always remember to choose consciously. No matter how dire the situation is, there is always grace. No matter how dark the situation seems, there is always light. No matter how disempowering the situation might seem, there is always hope. And no matter how dark the media portrays this world to be, there will always be light. We can always choose to focus on the light. And as we focus on the light, may the light glow so bright that the darkness just disappears on its own accord. So I hope that we all remember to choose consciously and choose to see the light instead of the darkness. That's all I have for you guys today. I really hope that you found this video to be valuable. And if you did, do not forget to hit the like button below and also subscribe to my channel. Also, let me know in the comments below what are your key takeaways from today's video. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care and bye.